Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is your boy Jagothian here, and today we're going to be going over the next in a very long line of Commander Mastery series guides. Pelagius seemed to be the most requested from the majority of the people that were commenting below on my last Sun Tzu Mastery Guide video. So I went ahead and decided to go with him, and to be honest with you, I think what I'm going to do is go through in rapid succession, rapid fire, all of the epic commanders, so that the folks that don't have a whole lot of money to put into the game can really kind of jump into what some of the next level things are that they can do to spec out their guys and be really effective on the field, help support the people that can put money into the game and are a little farther along with their legendaries and all that good stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm first going to start off with the talents, and I'm going to go through PvE and PvP. I'm going to start with PvE, as you can see on the screen here. And just keep in mind, before we go further, this Pelagius is level 50. So there's 10 more skill points left that I've got to play with, right? 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. Yep, 10. I can count. 10 points left to put into this tree. And I'll show you exactly where to put them for PvE and PvP. So let's get started. PvE talents. So again, let's get into the why behind the what, why I'm going full skill tree here, and then going and specking into Cavalry as a secondary skill or talent line. And then just again, why are we doing this when we're killing barbs, when we're killing barbarian forts, when we're killing Kerouac bosses, things like that. Anything to do with PvE content, this is the build that I use. And let's kind of go into why. So first off, with the skill. Skill gives you rage regeneration, it gives you damage reduction from skill damage, all the things that you need when it comes to killing things that are not another player faster. So that's why skill damage, the skill damage tree, the skill damage talent tree, it's so effective when you're talking about PvE. So I usually throw almost all my points, and even sometimes I'll throw some in the naked rage as well, especially if I'm just doing forts or just doing barbs. Naked Rage is a good sink of 3 points because it gives you that extra damage, and really skill damage does not really impact, and I'll show you what that looks like. Skill damage does not really impact us from a PvE standpoint because the skill damage is so low. So 6% of 120 skill damage from a barbarian is nothing, right? It's like 8 or 9 damage more. It's not that much. And so that's what we're talking about when we're doing the skill. Skill helps you kill things faster, and then also helps you machine gun your skills on your first and second build, or your first and second commander, so that you're killing things all the faster. And again, just to kind of reiterate, this applies to any cavalry commander. So Minamoto, and I say any cavalry commander that has the cavalry and skill talent paths. So Pelagius, Minamoto, Baybars, all of them are that skill path or talent path. So this is how I would spec them if they were primary commanders in a PvE situation, okay? Now, when we go over to the cavalry path, again, the reason you want to go cavalry if you're doing PvE is because it does give you some more rage regeneration with Undying Fury on the top left. Also, disarm. So that's the one I'm about to spec into once I get 4 more levels. That'll give you an extra 20% damage reduction. So it's attack reduction from the enemy, which in then turn stops or reduces the damage that they do to you from their attack number by 20%. So whatever the calculation is for that that's what you're going to get. That takes 4 of our 6 points. I would also again put 3 points into Naked Rage just for PvE. Okay, we're definitely not going to do that for PvP. And then the other 3 points I would probably spec into health for Cav, and then possibly definitely not another health for Cav. Charge. Now here's the other thing too. You can do one, so you got 10 points left. We definitely want disarm, so that's 4 points. 2 points into the health thing to unlock charge. Charge is really nice because you can, once you're at 50% or less, you can increase your march speed. I tend to see that more as a PvP talent though. So to me, I would go for the 4 points in disarm, the 2 points in health for cavalry, that puts us at 6. 3 points in Naked Rage, and maybe 1 more point in health, or you can even go over to the garrison tree and do another 0.5 percentage point of defense. So you can play with it however way you want it, but to me that gets you a really solid non-peacekeeper that's going to be able to kill forts fast, that's going to be able to kill barbarians fast, and we'll go into the pairings right after we do all these talent tree specs, but that's the way I would go, okay? Now we're going to go into the PvP talent build next, and this is something that I've been toying around with that I think is really going to be kind of the next step in PvP when it comes to a cavalry and skill spec commander as primary. And the reason I say that is because I've really narrowed down the last skills on some of these talent trees and noticed that a lot of them are 10% chance things, or we're sinking 3 points in for an extra 9 rage per attack, which is okay, but we already get a lot of rage regeneration in a lot of these builds, so that extra 9 per attack might not necessarily be that effective. So let's jump into the one that I'm going to be switching to here in just a moment as soon as I get a reduced cost talent respec scroll. So this is going to be my new PvP build, and especially whenever he is my second commander, or not second commander, but second group primary commander. So I'm going to have eventually Minamoto and Double C as my primary, and then Pelagius will be my second leader of my second group, my primary leader of my second group, with Baybar's secondary, okay? So here's what we did, and here's why I did it. As you can notice, I've got the majority of, and let me switch the PvP talent build. There we go. This is the PvP talents. I took the majority of the cav tree. Now, why did I do that? Well, when you take the cav tree, you reduce a lot of the severely wounded because you get the extra health here and there, because you get the extra defense here and there. Those things stack up to the point where you get less severely wounded when you're battling, but because you're reducing the amount of points you can put into the skill tree, which is where your rage regen and your damage comes from, you tend to lose a little bit of that damage and rage regen, but you're getting a little bit more, oomph behind yourself. So you're not going to have as much severely wounded, but you're not necessarily going to burn something down like you would with the PvE talent build, okay? So this is specifically for fighting on PvP, and a couple reasons why. So again, we just talked about it before. Charge is a big deal. Once you're at 50% health, you can kind of notice if you're going to win that battle or not. And generally, once you get to 50% health, your damage is reduced pretty significantly because you've lost half your troops at that point, okay? So if you can get out of there if you need to, this ability will help you because you get a 30% march speed increase. So if you're at 50%, you can tell they're around 75%. You can book it, save the other 50% of your troops, get back to your city, get back to somebody else who can house you. At some point, get back to your city so you can recover your slightly wounded troops, heal up your severely wounded troops, and get back out on the battlefield just like that, okay? Again, you get disarm, so that's a very, very good skill to have, especially when you're talking about fighting other players, because reducing a player's attack by 20% is very significant, especially if they've got a max army with a 50% expansion rune. That's a huge deal. Another big touch that you want to have is Emblazoned Shield. That reduces the skill damage taken by 12%. When you're talking about fighting the people that you're going to be fighting, you should be fighting against archer groups or other cav groups, both of which are significantly known to be nukers or skill damage users, okay? So you want to be able to take more skill damage by having that reduction in place. That's what Emblazoned Shield provides you. Now again, keep in mind, I've still got 10 points on this build. So I've already got Rejuvenate. I've already got all those different cav talents that really make that cav tree sparkle. The one thing I'm giving up, well, there's two things that I think I'm giving up. The first thing is Rallying Cry. So I lose that first 10 seconds of damage, 15% extra damage, which is a pretty big deal, okay? But it's for 10 seconds, okay? The second thing is I'm losing 9 rage per attack by doing this build. So again, I'm losing a little bit, but I think I'm gaining a lot. So if I didn't lose those two things, that's 8 points that I would not be able to spec into the skill path over here. And I'm going to show you where I'm going to put them. So I've got 10 points left. I can go over here and put 1 into attack. After I put 2 into Heraldic Shield, which will give me an additional 6% total skill damage, which skill damage taken reduction, which is huge. Again, I just talked about that. We're fighting archers. We're fighting other cavalry. Both tend to be nukers. So that's 2, 3. I'm trying to press it. I'm on a phone. 4, 5, so more health. 6, 7, and I can get to clarity at 8, 9, and 10. So I can get clarity, which is an additional 6% skill damage for my nukes every single time. I can get rejuvenate, which is 60 rage whenever a skill is used. I get heraldic shield. I also get tactical mastery, which is also a really solid skill. 3% active skill damage is nothing to sneeze at. And because it's Pelagius, his first primary skill has additional skill damage twice. So I also took latent power, or latent power, however you want to say it. Enhances additional skill damage by another 6% too. So the majority of his damage is buffed and buffed and buffed. And if I was to pair this with a Minamoto, Minamoto's primary skill also has a chance to do 2 ticks of additional skill damage as well, which would make this skill all the more powerful. I think with this PvP build, this is the PvP build to use for any cavalry / skill-based nuker commander. So this is the way I'm going to go going forward. This is basically checks all my boxes for what I need for my commanders for cavalry. Again, I'm losing a little bit of rage regeneration. 9 rage a tick is nothing to sneeze at, but it's also not something that I'm killing myself over. I've got tons of rage regeneration with rejuvenate, other skills on the other pieces of the line, and then I'm also losing just a smidge on the rallying cry when it comes to the damage front, but it's only for 10 seconds. I hate putting 5 points, which would lose me 6%, basically 6% skill damage all the time during a fight. I would lose 15. I'm losing 15 seconds of that for 6% skill damage. I'll take the 6% skill damage when the majority of my damage is coming from nuke. That's just the way it is. That's what I feel about it. If you take rallying cry, you're going to lose clarity, and you're going to lose a little bit of health too. I'm sorry, March speed. This is March speed. So that's another 6% March speed that you get as well. So you're getting way too much not to give up Rallying Cry and Undying Fury for basically the entire left side of the skill tree, which is huge. So to me, this is the way to go. As soon as I get a talent respec scroll, I'm going to pop that as my new one, and I am going to use it going forward for every single cav group that I've got. All right? All right. So let's jump into... Let me get rid of these. Let's jump into the pairings. So same format as I did with Sun Tzu. I've got on the left side the PvP pairings, and on the right side I've got PvE pairings. And I kind of rank them as best to worst. Not so much free to pay, pay to win, or anything like that. In my opinion, kind of best to worst on how they fit with Pelagius and how effective they are for the task that the column that they're in. Okay, so let's start with PvP. We're always going to start with PvP. So Minamoto is the primary, first best, and top choice for a secondary or primary. Again, because they've got the same skill trees for cav and skill, you can do Minamoto and Pelagius and kind of interchange them. Whoever is the highest level is the one you want to have as the primary, and then whoever is lower is the one that's secondary. Now, I know Minamoto has peacekeeping, but again, I'm not going to be speccing into either peacekeeping or garrison for Pelagius either way. So to me, those two talent trees are interchangeable. Okay. Second is Double C. Again, he is mobile. He has a killer nuke. He adds a ton of attack damage because of his expertise, as well as another skill on his skill line. He adds plus attack and march speed on his third skill, I believe. I mean, it's just everything that's good about Cav, Double C adds. So again, a really good nuker secondary, and again, that is secondary for Double C is Double C. So I would do Pelagius primary and Double C secondary. Bay bars. Again, I just went over this on my video yesterday about kind of best free-to-play pairings for cavalry. You can do these interchangeably as well because they both have cav and skill lines, and it's for both options, PvP and PvP. The latent power skill doesn't necessarily apply to Bay bars because his is an AoE nuke that does not have additional damage. And he doesn't have any other skills that do additional damage. However, Again, you can interchange these two. I've got Pelagius as my highest commander, so once I get my double C up to where he needs to be skill-wise and my Minamoto leveled up to where I want level-wise, Pelagius will be my primary because he's already at 50, and Baybars will be my secondary. Again, Belisarius is another option after Baybars for me. Ronnie and I kind of went back and forth on this today because he watched my video and he was like, I like Belisarius, and I like the fact that I'm able to kind of use my Cav as infantry because they're super tanky. I agree with him. I think that he's got a very valid point. I personally just like to use my Cav a different way, and I wanted to have the most damage possible, and Baybars does more damage than Belisarius. There's no question about that. Belisarius is more tanky than Baybars. There's no question about that. So it's just a matter of your play style, how you want to play your cavalry group, whether it's your primary group or your secondary group. Belisarius will work absolutely 100% of the time, but again, make sure he is secondary because he does not have the skill talent path. He's got mobility. So he's basically the free-to-play double C when it comes to the talent trees. Okay? Now the next one I chose was Frederick. And Frederick is, again, kind of a universal nuker commander. He does offer an additional troop capacity bonus, which is always beneficial when you're on the battlefield, especially with PvP. And again, he does a great nuke that's affected by all the skill path stuff that we're going to be selecting on either talent tree spec. And again, he's got a heal as well, and pairing that heal up with Pelagius would actually be pretty solid double heal, rage regen, nuke damage. That's a pretty good combo to me. I've not tried it, but I got a feeling that those two would be super, super tough to take down, super fast, and super nukey. Like, they would really, really cause some serious havoc on the battlefield, I think, because they're going to have the nukes, they're going to have the heals, they're going to have the speed. That's going to be a really good group. I'm actually kind of tempted to make Frederick one of my next projects because he goes so well with so many commanders, especially as a secondary, because you don't need to worry about him using the leadership and skill paths for his as a primary. You can kind of pair him up with a really good primary troop-specific commander and really utilize his nuke. I also added Mehmed in here, and again, the reason I did that was because I always covet large AoE damage. Also, with Mehmed, he has a 20% attack bonus that could really go with Cav, because again, Cav and attack are basically just like peanut butter and jelly. So I really like the way that Mehmed pairs up with any Cav group as a secondary in a long shot. Like, this is somebody you could use. Definitely wouldn't be in my top 5, which is why he is number 6. And of course, I always got to mention Saladin. Eventually, we'll get him at some point. And when he does come out, he will be a great pairing with any cavalry commander that you want to use. Get him, level him, max him, whenever that happens. Okay? That's PvP, and again, I think that's pretty solid. 1 through 5, 6, and ish on the 7. Let's go to PvE. So I put Baybars first, and again, PvE, if you're doing forts, let me put a little star beside that. If you're doing forts, you want Minamoto as primary or secondary. Doesn't matter which one it is. The reason I say that is because he puts out the most potential nuke damage, especially if you have Latin power as well. So you want to pair up Pelagius with Minamoto, primary, secondary, primary, it doesn't matter, because of that. Now, if you're just doing open field barbarian farming, you want to have AoE because it's going to conserve your AP. It's going to get you more experience per AP used. You can be farming out there for longer because, again, you're going to not burn through your action points as quickly as possible. So Baybars is a great option because it gives you basically Sun Tzu-like powers for Cav. So it's a 5-target AoE fan in front of you. And again, I personally prefer to have Baybars primary because, and again, same spec on the PvE talent build, because when I'm going after a group or a cluster of barbarians that's stuck together, I want the AoE to go off as fast as possible so they don't start walking away and spreading. So that's my method behind my madness when I try and put an AoE as primary. That's the main reason. Mehmed I put as second. Again, AoE damage. He's got attack damage. He's got all kinds of good things that will help you stay out there longer and kill more barbarians with less AP. So I put him as second. Again, this is for open field. And then again, for open field or forts specifically, double C and Minamoto. Belisarius works as well, but again, not as effectively. I think more than anything else, he will just help you move around the battlefield, but Baybars actually has that movement speed buff too. So I think Baybars actually would just be a better version, and that's why Belisarius is 5th on this list instead of higher up. And then again, Frederick, I think he would help you. He's kind of like the Richard of cavalry commanders. He doesn't have that fan, but he does tick off that heal from what I've seen pretty regularly. And then putting out all that nuke damage, that would actually be a really good one for forts as well. And of course, ... Saladin, he's always going to be good. Just looking at his skills, that's going to be a very, very beneficial commander to have and max and all that good stuff. So can't wait for that. And yeah, I think that's it. I think we went over everything pretty significantly here. Again, I've got a maxed out Pelagius right now skill-wise, and he's level 50, so these talent trees are a little bit incomplete. However, we kind of went over the extra 10 talent points that I would put and where I would put them. And I think this build right here is the one that is going to be the game changer. I think this is a PvP talent build that not many people have used or thought of and haven't really got too deep into it. They just max a tree and then put whatever they can in another one, regardless of whichever one you see. So I hope this was helpful. Again, like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really appreciate y'all joining and growing the channel. It's been growing by leaps and bounds. I think we've gained over 2,000 subscribers in the last 25 days. So let's keep it up. Let's keep it pushing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I can't believe how successful the last video was. I think we got like 250 or 300 likes within 24 hours and tons of comments that I was replying to all day today. So I enjoy talking with you guys in the comments and everything like that, and just kind of shooting some back and forth on what works and what doesn't and why I did what. And hopefully there was no miscommunication on which commander I'm talking about this time. It seemed like people were quick to comment that I meant to say Belisarius instead of Baybars, but I was trying to explain myself leading up to my decision. I guess I should have flipped that around so it'd be easier for you guys. With that being said, take care of yourselves, everybody. I enjoyed this again, and I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Let me know in the comments below which commander you would like to see next. I'm thinking some more generic commanders for free-to-play, like a Scipio or a Joan. Let me know. Let me know what you think. I was also thinking about making my archer one the next commander, because we've done infantry, we've done cavalry. Might make sense to do an archer primary commander as well. So again, like and subscribe. I'll talk to you later. Have a good one. See y'all next time. Cheers.